This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. As Los Angeles braces for more high winds that could bring what's been described as explosive fire growth, firefighting crews continue to battle the Palisades and Eaton fires and other smaller blazes. At least 24 people have been killed. Dozens are still missing. Nearly 1,000 incarcerated firefighters have been deployed to help contain the fires, typically earning as little as between $5.80 to $10.24 a day. Popular Twitch streamer Hassan Piker spoke to several incarcerated firefighters working in the area.
The cops treat us like but here we get better treatment, right? They talk to us like humans. They talk to us like humans. We got a job. We're underpaid, but we got a job. Yeah. You feel me? And then the community comes out and shows us all kinds of love. We never received that growing up. We never received that kind of love, that kind of recognition for anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life-changing for a lot of guys, because that's all they be needing is a little bit of recognition.
For more, we go to Los Angeles, where we're joined by Keri Blakinger, investigative journalist with the LA Times, previously reported on the criminal justice system for the Marshall Project. Her new piece for the LA Times is headlined, "How You Can Help the Incarcerated Firefighters Battling LA Wildfires." She co-wrote a Marshall Project piece headlined, "Incarcerated Firefighters Do Risky, Low-Pay Work. Many Say It's the Best Job Behind Bars." Her memoir is Corrections in Ink, about her own time in prison. Keri, we spent time out with the incarcerated firefighters years ago. You recognize them in their orange jumpsuits. They're making between $5 and $10, not an hour, but a day. Explain what you know about their situation right now.
Well, as you mentioned, the pay sounds low, but this is actually one of the better paying jobs in prison. And that's why it's actually a really sort of coveted job. So even though it's this grueling manual labor, and they're out there right now, 888 of them fighting the fires in Palisades and out in Altadena, despite the risks and the seemingly low pay, this is still a really coveted job in prison. And as that clip that you played showed, it's something that's also really rewarding for the people that are doing it.
So talk about where they're fighting the fires right now, and where exactly they stay, where they work out of, how they get to this point where they can be fighting these fires.
Yeah, so there are 35 fire camps across the state, which is where they live when they're not actively fighting fires. When they are actively fighting fires, then they're located at, at some sort of like make-do type camp situation, closer to the actual fire. But the training for the firefighters is about a week of training. It's similar to it's actually the same as what people that are fighting this in the free world would go through to do these same tasks. And sorry, you asked where. We've only been told that they are fighting the Palisades and Eaton fires. So, the Malibu area fires and the ones in Altadena. Haven't gotten any more specifics. The prison system has not been able to give us any more specifics about like where specifically, or if there are other blazes in the area that they're working on.
Historically, incarcerated firefighters has made up as much as 30% of the California wildfire force. Is that right?
Yeah, the numbers have dwindled, though, over time. There was a point at which there were over 4,000. I think that was around 2005. They're down to about 1,800 now. There'd been some consideration in the budget. It was slated to close 5 of the fire camps, although that got taken out of the budget, so those stayed open. But they've been a significant part of the firefighting force, even though their numbers are dwindling.
You yourself, Keri, had to evacuate. Can you describe your own situation?
Yeah, that was wild. I actually had jury duty that day because despite being a felon in California, you can be called for jury duty. So my first jury duty experience, I was worried all day about what would happen if I had to evacuate while I was at jury duty. And I came back, and within an hour, I was scrolling Twitter and saw a report of a fire very close to me, and I looked out the window and the flames were right there, and it was less than 2 blocks away, and I had to take I don't have a car, so I had to take whatever I could carry and flee on foot. And I walked a few blocks south to get away from the gridlock, and then had someone pick me up. And then a couple days later, went a little bit further to try to get a day or two of clean air in Orange County. And it was really wild to see the disparity, because I got off the train in Orange County and there were rich people frolicking to the sound of somebody playing Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And the disparity was really jarring.
Keri, I wanted to go back to your piece, which is really illuminating. You say legally one of the reasons the state can pay incarcerated firefighters so little for this dangerous and vital work is that under the U.S. and California constitutions, involuntary servitude is permitted as punishment for a crime. You say California voters had the opportunity in November to remove this exemption from the state constitution that would have opened the door to new kinds of legal challenges over working conditions for incarcerated people in the state, but the measure failed, Keri?
Yes, it did. And I think that was surprising in some ways because there wasn't any particular opposition to it. And a similar measure in Nevada actually passed. So when you look at what you would expect from a bluer state versus a redder state voters, I think that was surprising. But yeah, the Californians decided to keep that on the books. Do incarcerated firefighters get firefighting jobs when they get out? This has been such an issue over the past several years. It started getting more attention, so I don't know, in the past 5 years maybe, because the fact that they have felony convictions has, in most cases, barred them from being firefighters because they can't get the EMT license. There was a change in state law that took effect in 2021 that allowed for California firefighters with nonviolent convictions to potentially get those convictions expunged and become firefighters in the free world. And that has happened some. It's not widespread, but it is an option now, and it didn't used to be.
Well, Keri Blakinger, we thank you so much for being with us. We're going to link to both your Marshall Project piece and your piece in the LA Times, how you can help the incarcerated firefighters battling LA wildfires. Author of the memoir Corrections in Ink, speaking to us from Los Angeles, where she was just recently evacuated. That does it for our show. Democracy Now! Is produced with Renee Feltz, Mike Burke, Dina Guzder, Messiah Rhodes, Nermeen Sheikh, Maria Taracena, Tammy Warnoff, Trina Nudura, Sam Alcoff, Tamari Astudio, John Hamilton, Ravi Karen, Hani Masood, Hannah Elias. Our executive director is Julie Crosby. I'm Amy Goodman. Thank you so much for joining us.